We begin our bulletin here. Rolling blackouts, a heat wave, and now water cuts. Gauteng is still grappling with stage 2 water restrictions. In Tshwane, many residents have been without water for weeks. But according to the City of Tshwane, 90% of the Soshanguve residents have had their water restored. They're being urged to continue to limit their water consumption. For more on this, we are joined by Tshwane MMC for Utility Services, Daryl Johnston. Thank you so much for your time, MMC. We do appreciate it. Let's just first get some clarity on the parts of the City of Tshwane that don't have water at this stage because of the water restrictions that have been implemented by Rand Water.
Afternoon, Heidi. Evening. Yeah, we've certainly had some challenges in Tshwane, and as you mentioned, Soshanguve has been one of those. We've also had issues out in the Mooikloof and Hills area and various spots across the city. Acacia as well has been another area that was problematic for us, and we've had to repeatedly request Rand Water to lift the restrictions to aid us in restoring the reservoir levels so that we can at least deliver some water to residents. That it really has been a challenging time.
Could you maybe just tell us what your engagement has been with Rand Water? And the reason why I ask this is because when I did an interview with them earlier this week, they had indicated, this was before they announced the water restrictions for the City of Tshwane as well as the City of Johannesburg, that it's because of the heat wave and residents not using water sparingly that they are unable to really cope with the situation. But some of the residents have come out on social media to say this is a complete lie, and it's got to do with the fact that there's aging infrastructure at Rand Water. What has your engagement been with them? Have they been honest with you about what the actual problem is?
Well, the understanding is that the primary issue has been the Eskom supply because of load shedding, and that has caused problems. There have been additional, as I understand, technical issues also on Eskom supply to Rand Water, and that's been the primary issue. But I think it's exacerbated by obviously the heat that we're dealing with at the moment, increased demand on the system. But I think fundamentally, if we have a look at the dam levels, there aren't issues at our dams. Really, the issue lies within the distribution network from Rand Water. And that's where the real problem is sitting. And then as municipalities, we unfortunately sit at the end of that, and we have to deal with the fallout that then ensues from that.
So what does the week ahead look like? Are you able to confidently say that the water restrictions are still in place and that most water has been restored in parts of the City of Tshwane?
Well, look, hopefully with the reduction to stage 2 load shedding going forward, that will also assist as far as that's concerned. The officials from the bulk department remain in constant contact with Rand Water as far as that's concerned, and we push on their buttons as and when we need to make sure that we are able to try and deliver water to residents. It is further compounded by the fact that certain places are actually supplied directly off Rand Water lines. They're not from our reservoirs per se, and that requires additional engagement with Rand Water to assist there, because we've had a number of problems as far as that's concerned as well. But we remain in contact. The officials are ready and able to speak to Rand Water as and when we need to, and we just need as much cooperation from them.
Okay, MMC, I just want to ask you, do you think it's fair and okay to say that some residents have not been using water appropriately and have been over-consuming when it comes to water, even businesses or even those that are watering their gardens? Because, again, I allude to the fact that many residents have come out on social media to say that residents are constantly blamed for the fact that they don't use water sparingly, yet the infrastructure issues, and I know you can't really speak about that, but the infrastructure issues at Rand Water are not really considered in all of this.
Look, it is always a consideration, and we make every attempt to request residents to use water sparingly as possible. We live in a water scarce country, semi-arid, and the fact of the matter is that water is really life at the end of the day, and we need to preserve that as much as possible. But I think that sometimes we don't really appreciate water until it's not in the taps. So it's also why we've already embarked from my department on a program where we're looking at our own source optimization, because Tshwane fortunately does have at the moment around about 18% of our water is via own sources. And so we are already looking at ways to augment that to try and assist in buffering in these sorts of situations. But that's still a process that's underway. But we will endeavour to make sure that we are able to augment our water supply as far as is possible. It's very difficult. It's not like sorting out electricity necessarily, but we have those opportunities, so we are using them, and the teams are already working and hard at work at looking at those opportunities.
Sure. I mean, it becomes very difficult to tell people not to use water when the water's there. It's different with electricity because the electricity is not there to use. But I just want to ask you, in terms of clinics and hospitals in the city of Tshwane and surrounding areas, have they been affected? And I ask you this in the context of two major hospitals in Johannesburg, and that will be the focus of our next interview, that have been seriously impacted by the water cuts and water restrictions. Is that the same for the city of Tshwane?
We haven't had the same sort of issues, and I've certainly not been made aware of any problems as far as that's concerned. I think Johannesburg was in a slightly different situation in terms of certain technical difficulties that they had been experiencing in the run-up to these stage 2 or level 2 water restrictions, and I think that exacerbated their problem. We obviously are, contactable by the various hospitals, and provision is made. The hospitals do have backup water supply, and there would be tankers that would be available should they run into any problems. And again, the municipality would help as much as they could. But yet again, it's the municipalities having to step in and assist for what is essentially a state-owned enterprise that's again letting the side down. So whether the genesis of the problem is with Eskom, another state-owned enterprise, which is failing the citizens of the country, we sit now with a double whammy of both electricity and water, and it really is a critical situation, and it's a crisis that needs urgent attention.
Certainly, it's a massive crisis, and quite frankly, MMC, it's actually unacceptable that South Africans have to be subjected to no water and no electricity. But we thank you so much for your time this evening. That was Tshwane MMC for Utility Services, Daryl Johnston. Now,